Hello there, my name is Jen Reaves. I am a Technology Integration Specialist in Monongalia County, a proud Google for Education certified trainer, as well as the 2018 West Virginia Milken Educator. I'm here today to share with you 5 of my best tips to ensure that you and your student are successful with virtual learning. So let's get started. My first tip for you is to ensure that your student has a place that they can sit and be successful with virtual learning. This means that they should either have a desk or a place at the dining room table where they sit, that they can sit and be successful. This doesn't mean that they should be learning in a different place every day. There's a really important reason for that. It's really important that students feel consistent, just like they would know when they step into a classroom that it's time to learn. The same thing is important when you're at home. When the student is sitting in that particular spot, whether it's at a desk or a certain place at the dining room table, they know that when they're sitting there, the only thing they should be doing is learning, that they are there in that spot to learn. So having a dedicated space in your home for your student to learn when they're doing and completing their virtual learning is extremely important so they can be successful with their assignments for the day. Number 2, familiarize yourself with the device your student will be using and the platform where they will be interacting for their virtual learning. This is extremely important. I think sometimes as parents, I am also one, that we think our student knows that. They know how to do those things, right? But in reality, we need to also, as the parent, familiarize ourselves with the device our student should be using. So if our student comes home with an iPad or they come home with a Chromebook, whatever they come home with as their virtual device, it is extremely important that we are familiar with how that device works and functions. As a parent, it's also critical that we understand the software or the platform that our student will be using to submit work to their teacher, to get their work from their teacher, and be able to interact with their teacher. I will tell you that on YouTube, there are tons of tutorials for parents and for students to walk you through a certain device and how it works and functions, and troubleshooting tips to also how to submit assignments on a specific platform. So I highly suggest as the parent to be familiar with those things. The most important reason for that is because your student may struggle and not understand how to do a specific thing on their device or how to submit their assignments. So as the parent, we need to be there and be ready to assist with any technical assistance that we need to provide. Number 3, it's very important that we are communicating with our child's teacher at least one time a week. Whether we're sending them an email, whether we're hearing from the teacher and asking them questions, whether we're checking in with them and saying, how is my student doing? It's very important that a minimum of one time a week you are interacting with your child's teacher. This is important for a couple reasons. One is to ensure that your student is completing the work as necessary. And 2, if your student is struggling with anything, that you can communicate that to the teacher, because the teacher may not always be aware that your student is struggling if they're not turning in work. They may just think they're just not turning in work right now. So it's really important that you're communicating and keeping that open line of communication between you and your child's virtual teacher. Number 4, be sure that you check in with your student once a day. So a good time to do that is when you're having dinner in the evening. Check in with your student and ask them how they're doing. How is your day going? How are your assignments going? Can you tell me one new thing that you learned today? Having these conversations is critical, because if your student is doing virtual learning at home, you probably as the parent are also working or having other things happening in your life at the same time. It's really important for virtual learning that you and your students sit down at least once a day and have a conversation about the student's successes, the student's challenges, and what you can do to move forward to ensure that your student is successful. And my last tip, tip number 5, may be my most important tip, and that is to give yourself grace. Give yourself some grace. We are all in this new realm together and learning together. Give your teacher some grace, give the other members of your family some grace, and really just give everybody a time to breathe. All of these things we are taking on as a family are all new. They are all new challenges, and our students are learning in different ways, we're working in different ways, and we're really trying to adjust to this quote unquote new normal. So my last tip for you is to take a breath. Things may not always go exactly the way you want. Your student may not always at every point in the year be extremely successful with virtual learning. And really that's how it goes sometimes. So as we continue to move forward, give yourself some grace, give your students some grace, give your teachers some grace as we continue to move forward in this new normal, and ensure that your student is the most successful with virtual learning. So that's all I have for you. Those 5 easy tips to ensure that you and your student are both successful this year with virtual learning. Have a wonderful school year and make it the best one yet. See you later.